A few movies back, when we talked about how to upload files via a web form, I noted that the moment that you hit submit, it sends the file to the web server. And at that point, the file has been transferred. It's on the web server. It's just sitting in a temporary directory waiting for us to do something with it. Now, we can read to that file where it is. We can write to it. We can delete it. It's a perfectly legitimate file just sitting in that temporary directory. Chances are we don't want to do those things. Chances are we want to move that file out of the temporary directory, give it a name that we like, and put it someplace more permanent. After all, the temporary directory could get overwritten. The system could wipe out those files periodically if it wants to. That's why it's called a temp directory. So in this movie, we're going to see how to move those files into our uploads folder. So I'm back in upload.php, and I'm just going to take out the pre-tags where we were inspecting those values. We don't need to inspect those anymore. And I'm just going to put in some basic skeleton for our form processing. We've seen this kind of thing before, where when we're doing a single page submission and a form submits to itself, we're going to check and see, was the post variable submitted? If it was, then we'll want to process the form data. In this case, move the file over. And we'll be using this error, but not just yet. If we're going to move the file, the first thing we need to know is, what file do we need to move? So that's going to be the temporary file. And we saw how to do that by using temp name before. The second thing we want to come up with, though, is the location of where we want to put the file. So the name of the file can be anything we want. You could name it 0123abc.jpg. Or you could go to a database and look at what the next value ought to be or something. It could be based on the user's name. Maybe this is user K. Skogland's headshot. And so we could call it K.Skogland_headshot. It's your chance to name it whatever you want. But we do have access to what it was named originally on the user's computer. So in this case, I'm going to use that same name. We're not going to change the name. We're going to keep the name that they had. But because I'm keeping their name, I'm going to run it through a function called basename. Basename is going to make sure that we get just the name of the file that's at the end. So that's going to be, for example, picture.jpg. It'll be the name of the file dot extension. What it's also going to do is help ensure that our system doesn't get hacked by someone putting in something that's a little bit crazy for a name of a file that might interact with our file system in a bad way. It's going to help sort of purify it for us or escape it. So basename is going to be good for that. And that'll give us then the target file. And then I'm going to go ahead and say, well, the upload directory where we want to put these is going to be in uploads. Now, there could be plenty of sort of pre-processing of taking a look at those values that were there. You could check to see if the file exists first to make sure that you're not going to accidentally try to override it or something like that. You also could stop and do checking here to see whether or not there were actually any errors in the form as well. I'm not going to do any of that. Instead, I'm going to move directly to taking a look at what we need to move this file. And that is going to be move uploaded file. That's the PHP function that will move the file. And it only moves files that have been uploaded, files that are sitting in that temporary directory, and it knows because it's there that it's an uploaded file. It can tell. So what we wanted to say is move the uploaded file with this name, temp file, and move it to, and in this case, we're going to say it's going to be the upload directory, and then dot, and then slash. We don't have access to DS here. That's something that's in our other application. So we'll just use the slash. So upload directory, slash, and then the target file. That's where it should go to. So that's what we want to do. We want to move the file there. Now that will do it on its own. That PHP function will attempt to move the file. But let me make a note here, which is that move uploaded file will return false if the file is not a valid upload file or if it cannot be removed for any other reason. Well, since it returns false, that's a great reason that we can put if around it. So if we were able to move the file, then do one thing, else do something else. Let's grab this because we know that the else we would want to do if something goes wrong is display an error there. And if not, let's put in a simple message equals file uploaded successfully. So we wrap it in an if-else statement, but ultimately what we're doing is saying, were we able to move the uploaded file from its temporary place to the target place where we want it with the name that we've given it? And that's all there is to it. That's absolutely all there is to moving files after they've been uploaded. Let's go ahead and try it out. I'll save this. Let's get our directory here where we can see it. Here's uploads, and uploads right now has nothing in it. We did make sure earlier that it was writable. So now we'll just need to go to Firefox and let's upload a file. So browse, and we'll take that same file again. You can put a different one if you want. filetest.txt, and open it. And then upload. File uploaded successfully. Let's take a look over here, and sure enough, here it is. Now, it's uploading it to a directory on the same server, but this could be on two separate servers, so that this is on a local copy, let's say in Chicago, and this one is on another copy that's in Dallas, and it's uploading it to that directory. Don't be fooled by the fact that these are in the same place. It's because we're running both our web browser and the web server in the same place. And that's really all there is to uploading files. Once you understand those configuration options, you make a few changes to your form, then it's simply a matter of pulling values out of the superglobals and using move uploaded file to put the new file in the right place. I think that you now have a very good understanding of how files and directories work in PHP, and you should feel very comfortable by now. And we're ready to move back to the photo gallery and finish fleshing out that application.